Welcome to our new series, The 200 Movie Challenge. Our goal this year is to watch 200 movies that we haven't seen yet. If you want to listen to the full podcast where this clip is from, the link will be in the description. Now enjoy today's movie. All right, Soto, I did see one more movie this week.
Mm-hmm.
And again, I was like, you know what? I'm going to go gimmicky. Now, I did a romantic comedy. Now, I was trying to think of a romantic movie. Now, I can't watch The Notebook because I've already seen it, but you should watch The Notebook. You should put it on this,
Right.
this year. This is going to happen now that
Gonna
you've
happen.
gone to this Ryan Gosling.
He's dreamy.
I was going to say fanboy crush, but you know what? All
He's
joking
dreamy.
aside. So I was trying to figure out something because I didn't want another romantic comedy, especially not after Kind of Pregnant. I was like, all right, find me an actual romantic movie. And as I was kind of going through and searching, I went old school. The first movie I saw was the newest movie. This is the oldest movie I've done for our list, Soto.
Wow.
Now, I have seen older because there's a lot of classics I've seen, but I went to 1957 and I saw An Affair to Remember with Cary Grant.
Wow. How long was this?
How long? The movie was only not even 2 hours. It was, I think, officially it was an hour 50, maybe. So yeah, it wasn't long. This is maybe hour 40, hour 50. So yeah, I was like, okay, this isn't like a 3 or 4 hour love story. No, this is a very typical love story. It's actually a remake of a 1939 movie called Love Affair, which Cary Grant was offered the role, and he turned it down at that time for reasons. But he was visiting the director on set, and he actually kind of felt bad. He's like, I should have done this movie. He's looking like, this is really good. So he asked them to remake him almost whatever. I think it's like almost 20 years later, and they did. But a lot of romance movies get their tropes from this movie, and I didn't fully realize it. So the premise is Cary Grant. It's kind of like the playboy type. He's got some money. He's engaged to someone who's like getting a huge inheritance in France, I think it is. And so he's taking a yacht. He's taking basically a boat trip back from France to Boston, coming back to the States. And he meets another woman, played by Deborah Kerr. I don't really know too much, but her name's Terry in the movie, who she's also engaged to a wealthy man. But he's not on the boat. So these two people are taking basically the same boat from France to the United States. Chance encounters happen. They realize how much more they're alike than the fiancés they're with. And you see slowly, and they slowly fall in love. And then Terry's like, we can't do this. Stay away from me. I don't want to go that extra mile. I don't want us to fall in love. But the chance happens, and everyone on the cruise is also looking like, oh, you two, kind of like, what's happening? So they're just trying to stay away from the public eye. They're trying to make so nothing happens, but obviously sparks do fly. Now, mind you, this movie is 1957. They're not showing a lot. So what happens is they do obviously end up kind of falling in love, and because they're also talking about their past, like he gave up painting, to be with his, kind of this new life, and she gave up singing. And so they're like, why do we give up our dreams? Why do we do what we so they come up with the idea that in 6 months time they are going to meet on top of the Empire State Building at they have the date in certain time. In the 6 months their goal is obviously, unfortunately, separate from their current fiancés, but not just that, to go back and get a job with what they love. So she goes back to Boston and she kind of slowly becomes a singer, like selling out those kind of nightclubs and stuff like that. And he's doing paintings and trying to sell them. He hired a guy. So it's not just about, hey, let's just leave our current, people and just move on together. So they're like, we need to make a life. We need ourselves to be happy, which again, for a 1950s movies, I'm like, okay, this is different, but impressive.
Pretty progressive. Yeah.
And then, so the day comes, 6 months. Cary Grant is at the top of the Empire State Building. He's all giddy because the whole thing is they're going to get married. Like, they know. And as she's going to the Empire State Building, she's looking up as she's crossing the street and gets hit by a car and is paralyzed.
No.
So he's up there thinking that maybe obviously something happened. like she didn't love him anymore, or kind of just maybe changed her mind about him. So he waits until midnight, but this whole time she's obviously recovering. So after that, and I'm going to kind of maybe spoil this movie a little bit because I don't think you're ever going to go watch it. So she doesn't want to reach out to him because she doesn't want him to see her like this.
Mm-hmm.
And weirdly enough, like the fiance she broke up with, he kind of is helping her. Like he knows this, she's in love with him. He's like, let me go talk to him. Let me explain it to him. She's like, no, don't. But he's helping her, drive and stuff like that. And he's like, well, why don't we go enjoy a play? Let's just go out, get you out in the limelight. And Cary Grant happens to be at the play too, sees her there with him, and kind of thinks twice about it. Like, oh, this is why she didn't come see me, because she stayed with him, So there's a little resentment there. But obviously at the end, he finds out where she lives and visits her, and she's not getting off the couch. Now, Cary Grant doesn't know she's paralyzed yet, obviously. Everything's kind of, because at the theater, she was kind of sitting down.
Mm-hmm.
And he's not yelling at her like, what would you do if this happened, And again, she doesn't want him to know. And he's about to leave because he's just thinking like, she just doesn't want to be with me. And he tells the story about how he painted her, with this piece of clothing. And it dawns on him. He's like, yeah, I didn't feel like I could sell it. And the seller, the person that's representing me, saw this poor woman come in, and he stops the story. Like he realized it was her that came in, because the story was like a woman in a wheelchair came in, and he ended up giving her the picture, and he kind of busts into her bedroom, sees it. Then obviously they fall in love. He's like, what happened? And he's like, I would have understood. And obviously then it ends. But it's again, for its time.
Yeah.
Because again, there's no cell phones, no social media. Because you can be like, oh shit, she got hit by a car. Like I got to go see her, because he had no clue. So if you take the fact that it was in the 50s, like this is actually a really good movie, Soto. And again, the meeting on top of Empire State Building, the meeting someone that is more right for you than the person you. A lot of the tropes and movies that we see stem to this, and I'm like, all right, I was in it. It was a very simplistic movie. Mm-hmm. I'm not going to say it was the greatest movie I watched. It's not number one like it made your list. It's towards the top. I would put this above Scream 6, which puts it right under Les Mis. So it's like under Les Mis, and because above Scream 6. That's kind of where it is. Which 1, 2, 3? It's number 6 on my list, basically.
Scream 6. Wow. It's like, but Les Mis you enjoyed more.
Yes. Oh, yes. I did, and there's just it was a more powerful movie, and like I said, the singing and Anne Hathaway was great, and yes, an Affair to Remember. I had to take in the fact it was again a 50s movie. It's not like they could do a lot. Cary Grant was just great. The chemistry between these two were great. So it is a really good love story. It's again, for the time, it's not something that could be remade today without a huge update on the story. So yeah, I did enjoy it. Les Mis, I just felt was a little bit more of a powerful movie than this. And again, there was a lot more going on. This one it very focused on these two. There wasn't that many side characters outside of these two. So yeah, I think it was a good classic. It didn't blow my mind, but I was in it. Like I was like, all right, I'm enjoying this, because you never know, especially when you watch the older stuff, because a lot of it doesn't age well.
Yeah,
it's unfortunate, but it just doesn't. And I know we tend to we watch a lot of that because that's our personalities. We like it, but I get like the average viewer can be like, oh, so yeah, it's not like there's a lot happening, but the chemistry between these two very much carried this movie, and you just felt it. Like I said, I enjoyed it. That's why it's towards the top, like top half of my list. It's not falling below the Terrifiers or Beetlejuice down that bottom there.
Right.
So it was good. It's just like I said, it's nothing that it was good for what it was, and that's the best thing I can say about it. It's not like I am going to go watch it again, but like I said, for a 1957 movie, I enjoyed it. It was good. So
Affair to Remember.
And Affair to Remember.
Okay, cool.
Yeah. But yeah, again, I know not a lot of people didn't talk about it. It was just there on Netflix. I'm like, I am going to finish off. I need a romantic movie, and there it was. So